The assembled cadets fell silent as Commander Vexillar's four eyes swept across the auditorium. His chitinous plates clicked together, a Corinthian expression of grim satisfaction. "No cadet has ever passed the Crucible trial," he announced, his translator rendering his clicking speech into flat, emotionless words. "In 300 cycles, across 17 species, not one has earned the Instructor's medal." Orla felt Lewis tense beside her in their seats. His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Around them, cadets from dozens of worlds shifted nervously. The holographic display above showed previous attempts, species after species failing the mysterious final test. "Humans," Vexler continued, his gaze settling on their section, "are the newest members of the Galactic Coalition. Your physiological limitations are well documented. Weak exoskeletons, slow reflexes compared to the Zelvani, poor sensory perception compared to the Thros, limited psionic capability." Orla kept her expression neutral, though her fingers drummed once against her thigh, a habit Lewis recognized as her thinking pattern. 3 months later, Orla stood before the sealed door of the Crucible chamber. The trial's nature remained classified, revealed only to those who entered. And none who entered had ever emerged victorious. "Last chance to withdraw," Lewis said quietly. He'd already completed his attempt the day before, emerging exhausted and silent, refusing to discuss what lay beyond the door. Like all who'd gone before, he was bound by protocol not to reveal the trial's nature. "Not a chance," Orla replied, adjusting her standard-issue gear. The door hissed open. She stepped through. The chamber was vast, a simulated environment that shifted and morphed. Gravity fluctuated. Obstacles materialized from nothing. But that wasn't the true test. 17 holographic instructors appeared, each representing a coalition species. They spoke simultaneously, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of languages, each giving different contradictory instructions. The Corinthian demanded combat protocols. The Thros required diplomatic responses. The Zelvani insisted on rapid calculations. Orla understood immediately why everyone failed. Each species approached the trial through their evolutionary strengths. The Corinthians used their warrior instincts. The Thros relied on their empathic abilities. Every species tried to excel at what they did best. And the trial punished specialization. She closed her eyes, filtering out the noise. Humanity's greatest weakness, she realized, was actually its greatest strength. Humans weren't the strongest, fastest, or smartest. They were adequate at everything. Persistence hunters. Adaptable omnivores, social enough to cooperate, aggressive enough to compete. Not masters of any single domain, but competent across all of them. The instructors wanted perfection. She would give them adequacy in everything. Orla opened her eyes and began. When the Corinthian instructor demanded combat, she didn't try to match their species' legendary prowess. She fought defensively, adequately, buying time. When the Thros required diplomacy, she didn't attempt their subtle emotional manipulations. She communicated clearly, adequately, achieving basic understanding. The Zelvani's calculations, she solved them not with computational perfection, but with human approximation and intuition. Hours passed. The trial escalated. Environmental hazards multiplied. The instructor's demands became impossible to satisfy simultaneously. That's when Orla stopped trying to satisfy them all. She prioritized, triaged, sacrificed perfection in one area to maintain adequacy in others. It went against every instinct the other species had. Their evolutionary programming demanded they excel in their specialties. But humans had evolved to be generalists, to survive by being good enough at everything rather than perfect at one thing. The chamber suddenly went still. Commander Vexlar's hologram appeared, all four eyes wide with what might have been surprise. "You have achieved the minimum success threshold in all 17 disciplines simultaneously. This has never been accomplished." "With respect, Commander," Orla said, breathing hard, "I think that's because everyone else was trying to achieve maximum success in their specialty. The trial doesn't want specialists. It wants someone who can do everything reasonably well." The hologram flickered. The Crucible was designed to find individuals capable of leading mixed species operations. Leaders who could understand and coordinate between different species' strengths without being limited by their own evolutionary blind spots. Every species that attempted it tried to impose their natural advantages. "You are correct. They all failed because they tried to excel rather than simply succeed. The chamber dissolved. Vexler's real form waited beyond, holding a crystalline metal that refracted light into rainbow patterns. The instructor's metal represents not mastery but balance, not perfection but adaptability. His plates clicked in what the translator rendered as approval. You understood what 300 cycles of cadets could not. The following morning, the auditorium was packed again. The same cadets who'd heard Vexlar's warning now watched as Orla walked across the stage. She wasn't carrying her own medal. Lewis stood as she approached their section, extending his hand. In his palm lay Commander Vexlar's personal instructor's medal, the one he'd earned decades ago as a cadet himself. The commander wanted you to have this, Lewis explained quietly as she took it, stunned. He said you're the first cadet who truly understood what it means to lead in the coalition. Not by being the best at one thing, but by being good enough at everything. Orla held both medals, her newly earned one and the commander's gift. Around them, cadets from 17 species watched in silence. Finally, a Thros cadet's translator spoke up. How did you know? Orla smiled. Because humans have never been the best at anything. We've just learned to be good enough at everything. And sometimes that's exactly what's needed. As the assembly dissolved, Vexlar watched from the observation deck. His translator was off, but if it had been active, it might have rendered his clicking as something close to laughter. The humans, he thought, had finally taught the coalition something new, that adequacy across all domains could trump perfection in one. That generalists could lead where specialists could not. It had only taken 300 cycles to learn. But then again, he reflected as Orla and Lewis left the auditorium together, discussing their upcoming assignments. Perhaps the lesson had been worth the wait. After all, the coalition had plenty of specialists. What they'd been lacking were leaders who understood everyone.